I'm ready now. Have you had as much fun as I've had in here tonight? Hasn't this just been glorious? Amen. When I was a little kid growing up in Jacksonville, Florida, there was a guy that lived across the street from me, and he had an electric guitar, and I was just fascinated by that guitar, and every time I'd hear him across the street, we didn't have air conditioning. Can you imagine growing up in Jacksonville, Florida, no air conditioning? We were poor and didn't know it, but I had a great childhood. I'd hear this guy across the street fire up his guitar, and I'd run across the street and press my face against this screen door and just stare at him. His name was Lynn Denmark. Matter of fact, his name still is Lynn Denmark. He'd be sitting in there playing his guitar, and back in the 60s when I grew up as a little kid, there was a group on the radio called The Ventures. They didn't sing, they just played instrumentals on their guitars. And they did songs like Pipeline, Walk, Don't Run, and different things like that. And I'd hear Lynn across the street over there doing his little... And I felt so sorry for him because he was all by himself over there. You needed at least 2 to 3 guitar players because while one guy was going, there was another guy that went. And then a third guy would come in with. You see what I'm saying? And then when you put them all together, it's like. Lynn all day long over there just going. He never smiled. He just. And I'd stare at him through the screen door and I'd watch him and he'd just look at me. Never smiled. One day he spoke right in the middle of it. He said, "Do you play?" And I said. And he said, "Do you want to learn?" And I said, so he invited me into his living room. I had on a little pair of cut-off dungarees, shorts, and probably 3 tater rows under my neck, sweaty, dirty. He put a towel on the couch, said, "Sit right there, don't move." And he brought me a little guitar, and before I knew it, I was going. And one day we were playing, he said, "Let me show you this little blues lick." And it was a little finger-picking thing, and he said it goes like this, and he started showing me this lick that went. And I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever heard in my life. And I went home all night long, I was going. As an 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid, one day as a 40-something-year-old man, that would become going fishing. And I've had several people ask me tonight if I do that fishing song, so we're going to have a little fun. How many believe you can have fun in church? Amen. I'm the ringleader. Amen.